so much magic around you. Isn't that the case though? Look at you, behind you, around you, around you. I have geek stuff around me. Like I have comic books, like my prints. I'm enjoying some tres leches cake because my son turned 16 yesterday, and so
yeah. Congrats to your editor.
Right,
Can
the editor is
legally
doing his thing.
drive.
Yeah, he's been learning how to drive a stick shift, so the right way to
Hell
learn.
yeah. My brother, if you talk about the most Mexican thing ever, right? My oldest brother, there's a 16-year age gap between me and him. When I was like 12, 13, something like that, because we're from Yuma, Arizona, and there is like a big reservation around us, he took me out into the middle of nowhere and then just said, "We're going to teach you how to drive stick." I was like 12 or 13. I was like, why did you do that? But that means that I learned how to drive stick very, very early. So by the time I got to my actual license, it was not that hard.
Exactly. That's the whole point, right? Se les enseña the hardest way. That way, when you have to do it the regular way, it's easy for you. Like, my dad taught me the same way. He's like, here, I was like 11, 12. And well, first of all, I was younger, sitting in his lap, him steering the freaking car while he's driving on the road because he's out of control. And then eventually he's like, oh, hop in this car. Like, for a long time, I swear to you, yo pensaba que every car era standard. That's what I thought. Like, every car is standard. Like, I didn't know that automatic was a thing, Like, I had no clue. Because when I was in El Salvador, we'll look at also the tractors, right? They're all standard. Like, all that stuff was there. Like, everything, every machine worked the same way. And so, man, my dad taught me how to drive stick. I fucked up his transmission. Oh man, I destroyed it. My dad used to have a Supra. A Supra. He's like, like it was a car. It was like a race car, and I was his baby. I remember my parents dropping us off at my tia's house and going to buy a car. Like, hey, we have to go buy a car. And they used to have like a tiny little Toyota Tercel, like a little pill bug looking car, 2-door, and there were 3 of us and my parents. It just didn't work out. So we need to buy a car, right? I look back at that and think my dad was just a fucking a boy. It was, a boy buying a toy, because as soon as like they picked us up, my dad shows up in a sports car to pick us up. And like it didn't make any sense, but it was a Supra. It was a cool silver car, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. But yeah, from then that car, he babied it forever. And funny yet sad, I was driving that car for a while. I tore up the transmission. My dad had to replace it. He spent all this money fixing it, right? Tons of cash. And then eventually, pues, I knew how to drive. I got my own car, standard. I had a Celica, because Toyota, all that. Y de repente, one night I come home, right? And I just throw myself on the couch. Like, I'm just tired. I was out partying, whatever. I was going to stay here on the couch. It's comfortable. It's LA. The windows are open, nice breeze. Just lay on the couch. I'll sleep here. At a certain point, I heard pop, 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 pop. And I'm like, oh, I live in South Central, so I hit the ground. And I look around, but I look up, and I see like orange, like this orange, like aura, like outside the window. And I'm like, what is that? And like, then I hear boom, and like the car had exploded. My dad's Supra blew up in like the front part of the engine, went boom, and there was fire everywhere. And at that time, I go knock on my dad's door. Dad, the car's on fire. Corre, corre, corre. Sale corriendo mi papá. I swear, estaba en calzoncillos, whatever. He's like, running out. But obviously, at that moment, we run outside and we see the car on fire. And then my mom's car is being parked behind his car. And he's like, I got to save mom's car. And so like he runs around there, like he takes mom's car out of the way. My mom's car had like sun-kissed scars all over the side of it because of the fire. But then the fire department shows up, all that, right? And we're thinking, he told me, what happened? What happened? I said, well, I think eran cohetes, right? Because it was like fireworks or something. And he's like, no, I don't know. So the fire department comes in, they finally investigate, and they go, all right, so it turns out that your car, because the ignition switch was so old or whatever, it got heated up so badly, it was left on. Because at a certain point, you can turn the ignition and like take the key out, and the car would just still run. And so then apparently that mechanism got so hot that it basically chewed up the wires and caught the car. The car got caught on fire because of that and blew up his baby, blew up his Supra. And the one thing my dad told me at the end, I'm like, oh, Papa, I'm sorry, your car. He's like, I just replaced the engine on that thing. Like, I just replaced the engine. He's like, that was a whole nother life for that car. And I was like, yeah. But that was, and he lost his favorite thing because that was it. And I was like, but what if I was in the car? And he's like, I have daughters. And I was like, okay, thanks, Dad. Appreciate you. That was my dad. Good old
I
dad.
mean, if there is any way that a car would beat its end, at least it ended epically. Like it wasn't like, oh, I got into a crash or like it just stopped working. It went out quite literally in a blaze of glory.
In a blaze of glory. Primos, bienvenidos to another episode of Puro Pinche Magic, where our cultura geek meets the plains verse. Is that the right thing? The multiplanes? The planes? Is that the right
The
term?
multiverse?
The multiverse. There we go. Multiverso, I guess.
I think so.
I'm one of your hosts. I'm your primo Fredie, joined by my prima and yours, Bones of Calabra Cosplay, and we're going to dive deep into the madness that Wizards keeps cooking up in this beautiful game that we enjoy called Magic the Gathering. And yes, let's acknowledge it. Es verdad. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are coming to Magic the Gathering. Bro, like I'm down for that though. If you give me a Chavo del Ocho, Chespirito, I'm dropping money for it for sure, for sure.
I'd wait in that line.
I wait in that line for sure, for sure. But we got hot takes, spicy decks, and maybe some bad decisions, powered by some cafecito, and of course all of our magical gatherings of fun and babosadas. Bueno, so shuffle up, crack that booster. Let's get some puro pinche magic on the way. Bones, welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back.
Right. Well, this show is a lot of fun. We had first and foremost, muchas gracias a la comunidad, out there on the internet. We've had a lot of positive, welcoming abrazos from all the primos out there that are creating the same content we are, wanting a space for Latine creators in Magic the Gathering, right? In this space, because we often get overlooked. Latino America, as Bear said, they're such a huge following, such a huge play group that it's hard to imagine why they get overlooked. And so I love the fact that we're able to do this show, have fun, hablar con nuestra gente, our language, nuestro idioma, and enjoy Magic and put a spotlight on it. So I definitely want to thank everybody that has followed along and has been sharing the content. I'm glad you enjoy it. Bones, your thoughts on that? I mean, how do you feel about the community kind of embracing the show?
I think it's I think it's super amazing. Mostly because I know, right? It's just gonna be a whole thing. I'm gonna give your son a ride on editing this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's awesome, mostly because the fact of like one, yes, we are overlooked, and then it's something also about the algorithm. It's very hard to cross that border. Like it's something about the algorithm likes to like pigeonhole you in like your same bubble and your same language. So like I've been telling TikTok to give me Spanish content since the day I opened it, and it wasn't until recently that I'm starting to get about like 50-50 on my feed, which is like thank God. So by doing this, I think we're helping the algorithm make the connections with other creators, especially across the border. Because like, yeah, I didn't know who Yellow Rabbit was. I know like with like there's like Willie One Land Hands, they're in Tijuana. There's like Urza Storewalker who's in Mexico City. Like it's I think it's going to help us better connect with each other. So I'm very excited for it. And
No,
I
I'm,
just
I'm
love
happy.
being able to do things through a Latin lens.
Pues sí, así son las cosas, right? Nos entendemos mejor, nadie se ofende. And at the same time, se entiende más, right? I even started following a couple accounts on there. I want to give them shout outs, Magic with an Ñ. They have a podcast that's really fun. It's a blast. I love the name. I love the content. Please give them a
I
follow
was
as
like, that's
well.
such a good name.
It's great, right? Like, I think it's awesome. And I think that the fact that we can promote each other, promote the community, and, that's what it's all about. So I definitely want you guys to check them out. Of course, One Land Hand, talked about them because they're real close to us here. We're going to have them on the show. And speaking of, as of recording, as of this being posted, they're on their way to the regionals in Guadalajara. So good luck to them. I think it's a modern format this time for that. So we'll see how they turn out. I think it's modern. I think it's modern.
I think you're right. I could be wrong though. I don't
You
know.
know, if only we had a way to look it up. But it's not like we have
Weird.
the access to all that stuff. Whatever.
We don't
Pero,
need
pero,
that
pero, pero,
stuff.
pero, pero. Highlighting the biggest thing that came out just as of us getting together to record this. Las Tortugas Ninja Turtles are announced as the March set, which we all kind of hint. I mean, the truck driving down New York, with the Turtles logo on it, and all the other influencers talking about Ninja Turtles happening, right? That's always been the hint, and it was already kind of like known. But to see it happen, I'll be fair. We had a big conversation about it last time. Is there too much Universes Beyond? But I'm a fan of the Turtles. Like I literally like have the Turtles right there. Like it just so happens to hit my button, and it's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
damn it, like you got me. Like you said, right? Like all it takes is that one franchise or the one IP to go, oh, I'm pulling you back in. But let's talk about like not too much. We kind of beat it to death last time, but like the fact that this set comes out gives me a little more hope that there's gonna be functional cards that I wanna play with. Because I felt like,
Mm-hmm.
don't get me wrong, right? Spider-Man was its own thing. I went to a commander league this past week, and they had me play Spider-Man Commander, which is an
Mm-hmm.
interesting variant, which is pretty much you pick a superhero and you pick villains that you're trying to fight while you're playing EDH against each other, which is very interesting format.
Oh,
Yeah, like you have
I
to
was
do
like, I
so
didn't know
many
that
things.
was a format.
Yeah, they're trying. They're really trying. So how it works is you pick a hero. I picked Miles Morales because of course, Latino, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and his ability was dope. Basically, landfall. Landfall. Play a land. Give a +1/+1 counter to a creature. Okay, great. I can. That's easy to run. Every turn, the next opponent chooses to keep that hero. Excuse me, that's the other way around. Villains. The villains get turned over on the table. Each villain has a thing saying, for example, pay 3, discard your hand, draw 5. Okay. Or the second ability says, if you discard your hand 3 times in one turn, you capture Green Goblin. So certain things have
Okay.
to happen in order for you to capture. If you capture 3, I believe 3 villains, you win the game without having to do commander damage or battle. You just win the game on top of the regular process that you would play commander, right? Commander damage and winning the game through damage. So every turn you would choose, okay, do I want to keep this villain in play or flip him over to another villain? But you'd hold on to your superhero to help you. And then eventually, if you do if you capture so many, they say, oh, if you've captured 2 creatures or 2 villains, you've unlocked the ultimate ability, which Miles Morales was like, whenever landfall hits, it would do ++1 to all your creatures, so it would boost everybody up. So it would really work around using these cards in that limited format. Very interesting, very cool idea, right? If that's kept as an option, like a one-off thing, kind of cool. But I don't see myself, and kind of Bear. I'm echoing Bear because he's not here today. But there are a lot of cards that we want to use for Commander that are very narrow. There's not that many that you would say, you know what, this will go great in a deck. This will go great here. But Turtles seems to have the whole martial arts, the whole idea of weapons. They're so rich in lore as well. Kind of like even with Avatar a little bit coming up in November. There's so much lore. There's martial arts, the elements, right? It kind of lends itself to that, where we're gonna see some of these mechanics come in. And for me, I think that we're gonna see maybe like a hint of the Kamigawa block, maybe, hopefully, like in a sense.
I was gonna say, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, in some aspects, is very like opposite of magic because it's not very mystical, but in other aspects, it is very reminiscent. Like, I would be shocked if there isn't some type of ninjutsu. Like, it works in that aspect. Um, I don't know if they're going to ever cross stories, but like this could be something that like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles could cross into Kamigawa. I don't know how
Mm.
I actually would feel if that would actually happen.
Oh,
I
I'm
don't know.
thinking.
But like in
Mm.
terms of like mechanically, there is stuff that they can pull off of. So I can see it. I'm intrigued though because they're all ninjas. So would they all have ninjutsu? I haven't actually looked. I saw
So
one card, and I
I'm
think
gonna
it was
show some
demonic
on
tutor with
screen. Yeah, the demon,
um,
the no, the
Splinter.
oh my gosh, Splinter. Yeah, it's the
Okay, that is it.
Dark Ritual. I think that they're
Dark
doing, and
Richer. Thank
they're
you.
reprinting Dark
Also,
Ritual.
I was laughing because you were like, I played Miles Morales, and I made the joke of like I just have a ton of magic product around me because I haven't organized since Atlanta. And I was like, I have all the welcome decks. So I looked over and I was like, I know
Hey,
Miles is not in here. I was like, where is he? So I like had to I finally found him. But I have because you
the
got
Miles
two in a
deck.
pack. So my buddy changed it for me. So I was like, I need to read what Miles actually does. But it was so funny that I was just like, where is he? He's here somewhere.
He's here somewhere. Well, check this out, Bones. If you can see on screen here, we have some of the announcements in white. They've released a lot of product. I mean, he's a mutant ninja turtle samurai. Look at that, Leonardo. Like, that's
Yeah.
insane. Look at all the connections there. I mean,
Okay,
Sneak.
so samurais could work really well with Kamigawa as well. So I
And
forgot that those
I'm
exist in that world.
is Sneak going to be the new ninjutsu for this? The sneak mechanic. I don't
What
know
is
Sneak.
go? I'm sure one of them will have a definition of what sneak does,
If a creature with a
possibly.
finality counter on it would die, exile instead. During your turn, you may cast a creature spells with power 1 toughness or less from the graveyard. If you cast a spell this way, that creature enters the finality counter. That's not it. Let's see. And there released tons of product. I mean, look at this. I love the comic book stuff. Like I'm a geek for
Yeah.
that. So that looks so good. This one can be partner. Whenever a token you control enters, you may put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Just listen, that's insane. In 5 colors, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Sneak isn't described in any of these, and we got April. I love April. Look at the blue. We got April is black instead of the white one from the cartoons, because in the comic books she was black. So I like that. But nothing comes up with Sneak. Look at that. I'm looking Vigilance, of course.
Hmm.
Mutant Ninja Human Turtle for April, I guess, because they're a team up.
Okay.
So okay, so I mean, here we go.
See
Splinter
that.
the Mentor, Mutant Ninja Rat, Mutant Ninja Human. Whenever another permanent leaves the battlefield, put a ++1 counter on Super Shredder. That's nuts. I mean, he's just gonna become huge, but dies to removal.
Is Splinter speaking Spanish on
You can
Dark
have.
Ritual,
Let me
or was
see.
it
Splinter Mentor.
in
We
the
choose what
flavor
holds us
text?
back. I'm looking at it
The one
now.
next to
Hold on.
it.
This one here. Oh, I
The
see it. I see
the
it. I see it. Yeah,
yeah.
he is saying,
Is it say Esposito? Oh,
"Esposito, my liege, grant me the flavor I am due." I don't know if Esposito is a character in the
is it
comic
okay?
books. Yeah.
I will say I have very limited Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles knowledge, and I like it's funny because so my dad growing up, he had cancer, so we had to go to like hospitals a lot, and my parents were very adamant about taking me with them so that I like kind of knew everything. But sometimes when he would go get like chemotherapy, he would be there for a long time, and the ladies were always like, "Oh, do you want to watch like a movie or something?" So they would roll out the like an old box TV on like a rolly cart, and
Yeah.
they didn't have a lot of movies, but they did have the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on a VHS tape of all things. So I watched that a lot, and I really did like it. But that's like also it's been years since I watched it, but that's pretty much where my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle knowledge lands. I also had an ex who really, really liked it, so I may be just a little salty.
Okay, so you're like, you know what? Like, divorce that, right? I was a
I
fan
don't hate
fan.
like a fan.
I was a fan
I was
fan.
like,
You know what? Oh, I'll give you an example. I made my mom pay a Latina mom at Burger King to join
congrats.
The Burger King Kids Club. I made her pay for it because it wasn't free, so that I can get a Donatello little plastic toy from Burger King. Okay, to that extreme, I slept with it. I slept with it.
Oh,
My mom used to sell Avon. For those that know what Avon is, it's kind of like Mary Kay and products and stuff, right? She used to sell Avon, and there was in the back of it there was sell kid stuff, and there was one VHS tape that was back there that they sold. It was the Ninja Turtles. I begged my mom to buy it for me with her Avon money. It was the Ninja Turtles in cosplay, teaching you how to ride the Metro, the MTA Metro. Like that's how much of a I was like, I guess I have a Turtles movie because they fought the Foot Clan from stopping kids from hopping the train, and this will show you
okay.
how to deal with the train. I was a fan of the Ninja Turtles. Like I was a fan, and yeah. So I may have to
I
get
mean,
this. But
I'm here for it. I don't hate him because of him, but it's just one of those where I was kind of like I hit a point where I was like, I'm good. I don't I don't need to cross that line. Especially because they his group of four was like, we all have a Ninja Turtle, and I was like, you're
oh
not
no, that's a
fucking
little.
gonna
I
tell
mean, I
us.
left that behind in like I left that behind when I was like 20 or something. That's dumb. Whatever. So
Talking to a cosplayer here whose entire
right.
personality.
Hey, let's dress up as turtles. I mean, there is a female turtle, by the way. I'm just saying, if she's in here, that'd be awesome. Um, Sneak is ninjutsu. Here's an example of Sneak. Here it goes on the card. It's Raphael's
Okay, it
technique.
is.
It's ninjutsu. Sneak for 2 in a red. You may cast a spell for 2 in a red if you also return an unblock attacker you control to your hand during the declare blocker step. That's different though, because ninjutsu doesn't read during declare blockers.
I think they had to change it because of the rule change. Because what was it? Beginning of the year, they switched when you could do things, and I think ninjutsu falls into that like purview of when, because it used to be after declared blockers you could respond.
Yeah.
So I think you have to do it now. So they had to like specifically say you
Yeah,
that's a no
because
now.
because for example, I could ninjutsu, do my damage, do my shenanigans, and I even at the after damage calculates or after damage at post combat phase, I can return it back to my hand because it's not blocked. It's not end phase. It's that post combat little minutia, and it comes right back to your
Mm-hmm.
hand, so you can still swap stuff out. So it makes sense that they had to do that. But I love this treatment here, doubling season. Look at that. That
That
could
does look
be.
quite pretty.
I mean, that's a pretty card. Look at that. It's a comic, old school black and white comic book. If you know about comic books, that's the original artwork, what it looked like in the comic books. Yeah, yeah. But if you notice something too, there are these symbols. They released a lot of information. There's going to be so much product in here. There's a turtle team up. A turtle team up is pretty much going to be where it's like a 4-player game where you all fight a bad guy, kind of like different teams. And there's specific cards that will only be available in the team up, and you can pre-order it already. I think looks like. Oh no.
Is this another
Yeah.
set that we're not getting commander
No, we
decks?
are. We're getting one
Okay.
commander set. I'm going to show that here. Let me go back to that page because I moved over. We're getting one commander. We got multicolor. Get that 5-color vigilance, trample.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever one or more mutants, ninjas, and or turtles you control deal combat damage, put a 1+1 counter on each of those creatures. So I mean, there's a lot here. Obviously, we can kind of go in depth and kind of just knock it down card by card if we wanted to. But for for time's sake, look at this. Look at the lands.
Okay, those pizzas look pretty good.
Look at the lands.
That's fun. It's flavorful.
Literally flavorful.
Quite
Literally
literally
flavorful.
flavorful.
That's fun. That is so much fun. Look at that. Oh, I'm all about. Oh, look at that mountain. That mountain's cute. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. The
They have a
chiles right
lot of
there.
mountains.
And look at the
Like, sorry, a lot
islands.
of lands.
Yeah, different lands like the anchovies. Full art. This is the full art lands.
Mm-hmm.
But there
The
is
broccoli.
one commander product. They're doing one commander product. It's literally a 4-color ally deck.
Hmm.
I don't see it here on their page, but it is a 4-color ally one deck. So they're doing one commander. From what I read, because like you said, they're not gonna focus on commanders anymore, right?
So I heard something somewhere, and I wish I could tell you where. And I have a feeling it was Eli who told me, so I don't know where he heard it from, but I think it it might not be like a bad thing. So he heard somewhere that there's a theory that they're going to stop making pre-con commander decks. Not so much because they're not focusing on commander, but so that people then have to kind of start making their own commander decks again, which like I don't actually hate. I don't hate that idea. Like it used to be that cards would come out and you would then find whatever card you like wanted to make a commander and then you would build your deck, right? So then it's there's not precon and there's not upgraded. You would just make it. That was Ragged Dragon for me. I picked one him in a Baldur's Gate like commander draft, and I was like, I
Yeah.
think this guy's super rad. I want to make him. So I think I'm not against it because I think it forces more creativity. But as long as we're still getting stuff for commander, but I don't think we need to specifically get commander decks, though it does help with the like reprinting, which is like the entire reason why I got the Final Fantasy commander decks at Costco. Not because I'm a Final Fantasy fan, but because there was some good reprints in there, and I was like, I need those cards.
Sure. Pero fíjate, encontré in mtgrocks.com to give them credit. They have an article about it. It's Marc Rosewater. So from Magic the Gathering themselves, they asked him, he goes, is there more commander decks going to be tied to any particular expansions? And he says, it is not something we're currently focusing on. Point blank. Like that, just straight up like, hey, don't ask me any more questions. And so, like you said, that is the conversation. I love brewing, right? And we can get to this point down the line when we're talking about decks and kind of we've talked about our favorite commander cards here and there. I'm a fan of brewing, but there is someone that is a fan of just, hey, I want this deck built for me. I don't want to think too much about it. I want to just grab it and play. That's fine. That's all well and good. But mira está, there you go. Just I want to pick up and play. I don't want the worry and the finding. But there's something. Okay.
All right, we're settling in.
Los que me entienden a mí right here, who is with me on this journey, okay? I like going and finding my card, digging through my backstock, looking through my bulk, asking a friend, hey, do you have this card? Or hey, what do you think of this? Like the camaraderie in the community, right? Because we like to watch deck videos. I do. I'll watch tech stuff. It's a cool combo, but to go out there and and make your own deck from scratch and have it pop off at an event or have it pop off in a pod, like there's such a good feeling behind it, because when you get a precon, unless everybody at that table agrees that hey, we're all going to play precons, you kind of are at a disadvantage or you're at an advantage. Then you ask that question: am I the asshole for playing like a level 3 or 4 deck against precons, right? Because then they feel like, well, why am I here? I'm playing this level, you're playing this level, which goes into the minutia of, commander play, rule 0, all that. But I don't know about you, Bones. Tell me, so are you not of, I want to create and go find and go hunt? Or are you like, hey, build me a deck and I'll make it work? Where are you on that?
So I'm somewhere like in between. Like I said in the last episode, I'm a very big Vorthos player. So for those who don't know what Vorthos is there is a type of magic player chart, for lack of a better word. And a Vorthos player is someone who's in it more for like the story and the lore. So how I got started with magic, the thing that brought me into it is story and lore. The moment it happened was I decided I was going to make a Chandra cosplay. Before I was like actually really into magic, I was just like, I like her vibe. She like calls to me, we are akin. And I was like, I'm going to do it. But I'm also the type of person that's like, I hate being called a fake nerd. It hasn't happened much anymore, but like when I was younger, it's like when people are like, oh, you like that? Tell me 5 songs. And you're like, I'm going to kill you.
I mean,
but,
I'm that way. I'm that way about music. I'll be like, give me 3. Give me, tres canciones, at least give me 3. Like, if you're going to wear the shirt, give me 3. Please.
Yeah, or just be like on the other side. It happened with one of the Mercury players. She had some band tea, and they're like, "Do you actually listen to it?" She's like, "Look, I'm gonna be true to you. I'm a fashion person, and I just like vibe with it. Like, I'm cool with that. Just be like truthful about it, right?" But like, I just am the type of person that like I wanted to know everything. Like, I had no real clue how deep the magic story was when Eli first showed me the card game. So I started deep diving into Chandra's story, and then I was like, oh my god, there is so much. And then I just started going down the rabbit hole, and I was hooked on the story, which then led me into like I really enjoyed playing, and I actually started drafting, and I found joy in the game as well. But the thing that got me into it isn't the game, it's the story. So I'm very much, I like to find my commanders. I like them to be found through X, Y, and Z means. So like I said, Raga Draga is like one of my all-time favorite decks ever. It's my baby. And I pack one, pick one him in a commander draft. And I was just like, this is cool. And I love him. Like, this is phenomenal. And I enjoy brewing the deck. Like I helped, like I made it, and then my friends came over and we made edits. But I'm also not very good at going back and re-editing my deck. And
Oh,
that's
okay.
kind of where I stop. So like I know I need to go back and touch up Raga Draga. Like it's just there's new cards. I need to like give him a little more gas. And same thing with my Chandra deck. I have an Oops All Chandra deck, and I make the joke of as Chandras come out, that deck gets progressively worse because I keep putting Chandras in and I take out cards so I can put Chandras. But like I know I need to update it because I have fun building it like the first time, and then I just like don't stress about going back, which is like something I definitely need to do. So I'm in this interesting in between of I like finding my commanders through whatever means, I come up with. So I have a Saskia deck, and the theme of that is muscle mommies. So the entire deck is all muscle mommies. Don't know why.
I
I
mean,
just decided I want a muscle mommy
do
deck.
Saskia, I mean, I'm gonna bring up the image here on screen so you guys can look at it. But it's fun when we can start looking at our commanders and go like, I enjoy this commander for XYZ reason, right? Like I enjoy
Mm-hmm.
it for the fun, for what it can do, for the flavor, right? Like there it is, everybody. Here it is.
Yeah,
So
and
I
that deck
mean, tell us about
rocks.
this
And
one.
like, so it is a muscle mommy deck. Let me see if I can pull up my own deck list and just give you some, because I know Karlak is in there. So the like whole premise of the deck is every card in there has to be a muscle mommy. So going through, it was a very interesting moment to be like, does this person considered a muscle mommy? And that being said, when I say muscle mommy, basically just not boy. So like I know there are some, I think there's some like non-binary in my deck, but just like identify as non-binary or female. And I remember being like, Eli's like, what about Massacre Girl? And I was like, like I just don't think Massacre Girl's a muscle mommy. She is
She's
like
cool.
no, she's awesome. Don't get me
It's a
wrong.
great.
But she's more of the like sneaky ninja-y, like, she's an assassin. She's not meant to be that like big and take up like space for lack of better
Yeah.
word.
I mean,
Okay,
so
so
then just while you're
colorful.
looking that up, the question comes up a lot, right? Is it like depending on the player you are, right? If you're a Orthos player, if you're a Johnny, if you're a Spike, right? Those are the terms, and you guys can go look them up too. It's just someone that's very aggressive, someone that just wants to win, someone that's very competitive, someone that wants combos to pop. It just depends what a player you are. Um, if I'm building something for the flavor of it, and I can pull it off, that's a great feeling, right? Like if for example, I was obsessed with for a long time, way back when I'm showing my age, when Landfall was the first thing back in Zendikar, the first Zendikar, I got to the point where I was able to almost break because that game was at that point it was very broken how you can abuse Landfall, and I was like, I'm doing 5-color Landfall, and I ran all like the big hitters in Landfall from Zendikar, 5 colors, everything from Royal Elemental, uh, Rampaging Baloths at the time. I mean, Avengers Zendikar, like all these big cards that now are kind of like passe. But it was such a great feeling to be able to run 5 colors, run the landfall, have everything trigger, become that guy that just popped off like crazy. And I built it from scratch. And I translate now to modern, I would say modern commander play. It's it's tough because like Bear, and you sometimes play CDH together. But when you sit down at a table and you're gonna play somebody that's all they want to do is win, because Bear told me one time, he goes, there are cards that are automatically includes in a CEDH deck, point blank. No
Hmm.
matter what, you're not playing for flavor. You're playing to pop off as soon as possible and win. I don't see myself there. I think that I kind of dance in the middle of that because I do want to win. I
Hmm.
also want to win with my cool, fun, wacky thing. And I don't want to come off as somebody that's just copy and paste. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Like that is like most of my decks. I like obviously I like to win, but I just want my deck to do the thing. If I can get my deck to do the thing it wants to do, I'm a happy camper. Saskia, I just want to play muscle mommies. I want to buff them up and I want them to smash. Raga Draga, I just want to play a bunch of like wimpy little mana dorks and then make my mana dorks very big and then all of a sudden have them punch. Can you tell I'm a red player?
Yeah, very much.
Chandra's, I just want her to build everything up and then commit war crimes and build it all, like burn it down. But like, I don't necessarily care that I win or not. I just want to do the damn thing, pretty much.
You know, I don't know. I feel like there's some colors that certain pods like avoid or stay away from, just for the pod to exist and coexist without so much salt. You know. Ooh, there it is.
So this is my Saskia deck. And
Look
if you
at
can't
that.
tell, I have a huge sideboard because it was actually really hard to cut it down. But yeah, literally it is a legendary humans typal deck. Not on purpose. That's just how it ended up happening. But like we have Adeline and then we have Adriana, Captain of the Guard, Alicia, who smiles at deck, Anna Frenza. Like it was very interesting playing that line of like, is she a muscle mommy? What makes her a muscle mommy? Because like there's this one, which one? So there's obviously like Marika, Brutal Gladiator, makes sense. She's definitely
Yeah.
a muscle mommy. I was hoping I could open these, but I can't. Lovisa Cold Eyes. But it also like forced me to look into maybe like a little bit lesser known cards now. You know? Like they have a home, but they're a little bit older. And it was like really fun to just kind of be like, all right, well, this card would be really good, but it does not fit the like mold I'm trying to work for.
Exactly.
So I have
Yeah.
to think outside the box. So Tukey, keeping it casual is his handle. Does a lot of rules videos, and for a while he would stream and say, give me your deck list, and I'd look for upgrades, right? And I said, all right, Tukey, here's a fun one for you. Here's my muscle mommy deck. Everything in it has to be a muscle. Every creature or planeswalker
Yeah.
has to be a muscle mommy. And it was so funny to have him be like, ooh, in this deck, it'd be like, oh, wait a minute. That's not a muscle mommy. And just like the multitude of times that he's like, this would be a great card. Wait a minute. That's not a muscle mommy. And I'm like, and now you see why I think it's such a fun little like tinkering deck.
So
Lots
isn't
of
that the thing
smudge.
though? I mean, don't you think that? And I mean, looking at this, I'm like, there are cards that I could think offhand, and I go like, well, this will work for that, but again, it won't fit the motif, right? That's the whole goal here. We're painting with a very fine brush here. Like there's specifics for a reason, and I like
Mm-hmm.
that. And then I end up falling. It's okay. Like I play arena for standard because I can't do standard on paper. I just can't because it's
Mm-hmm.
just I can't. I need to eat and pay bills. But because la verdad, arena. When I play arena, for example, I have to tell myself I'm gonna build a kooky off the wall thing, you know. But I
Mm-hmm.
find myself because of that format, that specific format, and the block that we're in, I'm forced to have to play those cards that are you see them over and over again. You know, you end up playing the blue black. You end up playing the the mono green, mono red white, or what have you, right? And Commander though, I like the idea of hey, I have 10 different decks because whatever flavor I'm feeling, we're gonna do this. You know, I have a friend who he's
Mm-hmm.
obsessed with Gundam, and he did a whole vehicle deck. And he got the Gundam kind of proxies and stuff just to kind of to have that be the game for him, and you set restrictions for a reason. I play in the league, and it's our own league called CBCL, the Cardboard Champions League. We basically made it a rule. Like we would play 3 games, and we would actually tell each other, "Hey, one category is going to be monocolored. You have to be monocolored. You have to be monocolored." And then the other
Mm-hmm.
category would be, "Hey, it's mandatory 2 colors." And then the third category can be as many colors as you want. So we kind of set ourselves in different categories within Commander and go from there. But that's evolved since then, by the way. There's a lot of rules and there's bounties after each other. The point is, I like the idea of working within those realms, but where are we? Is it at the end of the day? I guess it depends what table you're at, right? It is Commander. Commander is a format that is supposed to be a relaxed format, a welcoming format, right? A casual format. But I'm sure you've experienced it. Most of us have, right, Primos? you pop off,
Mm-hmm.
and the other side of the table loses their shit. They cannot take that loss. They lose their minds that it's impossible that their deck would lose to your deck, that they've spent so much cash and they've done so much research and this combo should work. What do we say to that? I mean, what do we say to someone like that, Bones?
So I think that comes down to not having a good rule zero conversation. And you're gonna get to peek behind the curtain here of what my life is with my husband Eli. I was like, Primos, I love me. I fall into the trap of a Latina who married a white boy. I followed the footsteps of my mother. But my husband works as a human resource trainer with a tribe here in Arizona. And because of that, I get HR'd all the time. And we'll have really good conversations, but leading into the world of magic. And the one that we like to have a lot is the importance of an actual, true, honest to goodness rule zero conversation. So you need to have that not only because you want to be on the same page, but you need to have a more in-depth conversation than it has to be more than like, hey, we're playing a 3, right? Because that a 3 can be a lot. Also, as brackets are changing, like things are getting upgraded and you never know. So like when I first put Raga Draga into like Moxfield or when they started doing it, it initially told me it was a 2. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way that thing is a 2. And then as things have like we've started expanding the game changers list and we've started switching things, it now reads as a 4. But also me and Eli have a habit of not using game changers because they're typically auto includes and that like makes decks very homogenous, you know,
Yeah.
like it makes them very copy paste. And Eli likes to challenge himself and myself when we do deck buildings to try to find alternatives to auto includes or game changers. So a lot of times our decks will read a little bit underpowered on any of these Mox fields. So he has the saying of, what's the story of your deck? What does your deck do? How does it win? How does it want to win? And does that sound like a good time for you? So my Chandra, I play Chandras. I was like, I have a hard time with creatures, but I just want Chandras to build up. And then you get to decide, do you attack my Chandras and let me keep putting more on the field and not affect my life total? Or do you affect my life total and like then hit me, but then let my Chandras build up? And I'll say like it's technically a 3, I think it is. And does that sound like a good time for you? Does that sound like a fun game? You know? And that helps with the idea of what a rule zero is and how it should be had, because it needs to be more expansive than what's the power level. It should be, what type of game do we want to have and what environment do we want to have? It is okay to sit down and be like, I want to win. I want to play a balls to the wall game of just big things and I want to punch really hard. Okay, thank you for letting me know that. I'm not bringing Chandra to that fight. I'm not going to win it, but I can bring Muscle Mommies or I can bring Raga Draga, you know, and it helps better understand what type of game everybody at the table wants and how everyone is feeling.
I think you're right. I think that rule zero is something that's skipped and that people assume that, hey, we're all coming to play a game. I won't get salty. You know, like you assume you're not going to be that person, but it happens. We all sometimes get like, damn, you got me, or annoyed. You know, there is a little bit of a piece of like that conversation of, oh, well, so and so across the table just came in and played Magic by themselves. They played solitaire. They just sat there and we just watched them play and beat the game. We're like, okay, great. So let's just scoop up and go, right? And then you become to this point where you get the idea of, oh, you're a bad loser. Okay, am I? Am I the bad guy here? Where if we didn't have the rule zero, I mean, hey, I fed the monster that killed me, right? Like I let this happen.
Yeah.
So I agree with you that rule zero needs to happen, even though people go, oh, let's just go ahead and shuffle up and play. No, let's have that conversation. What are you bringing to the table? Oh, this is just whatever. Okay, well, hey, man, just heads up. Like we all trying to have fun, or hey, we all take it real serious here. We know we all have this and that going on for us. That's why I appreciate whenever somebody's upfront about it. Like, hey, you know what? You may not enjoy this one here. This is really like hardcore competitive stuff. Not to say you can't hang or play it, but you're probably not going to have that much fun. And don't think that because you're being told this rule that you're not welcome to play. Just know that
Mhm.
this is the environment you're walking into, right? Son pesas, what is it? Mesas bien pesadas, right? Like, just understand, like, if you're walking into this environment, no one's saying you can't play. Just don't get mad when it pops off in 3 turns and you don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's be aware of what is happening and how that will affect you. So like if somebody says, "Hey, I'm playing a very like solitary deck, a very counter heavy deck," I do not like that type of play. But knowing going into it gives me the opportunity to decide, do I want to, am I in the headspace? Is that the type of game I want to have? If yes, what decks do I actually bring to the table that I think can possibly counter it? But like I know myself, I don't play blue for a reason. It's complicated, it's solitaire, and it's a lot of no. I'm a Latina. I don't take no very well. I do not, and that's also a little bit of the ADHD. Like I hate it. I hate being told no. And like I said, I just want my deck to do the thing, whether it wins or not. I just want it to do the thing. I have, some almost infinite combos in Raga Draga. I have an infinite combo in Raga Draga. I like being able to. I have a way that I can flip a Tali, the Gruul one, in like 1 turn, you
Wow.
know? And I've done it. I've done it. I've like put a Tali on the board and then I instantly flipped her and I've lost the game. And I'm like, doesn't matter. I did it. I flipped a Tali in a turn and I hit somebody for 11 damage. Like that is the type of player I am. But that doesn't mean that everybody at the table has to play what I want to play. But I also don't have to be forced to play what they want to play. We just have to be open and honest and have the conversation of where do we want to meet? And
I
sometimes it's
think
going to
that's it.
be, I will meet you on your end of the table. And sometimes you'll meet me and sometimes we'll meet in the middle.
So my thing is, and kind of to end the segment here, we take a little break. My thing would be as well, like when I play a game, oftentimes, and I'm not and this is the thing, I lose more than I win, but I have so much fun playing the game because, like you said, it's about my deck did its thing. I was able to accomplish something that I wanted to see happen on the field. I was able to interact. I was able to have the conversation with everybody else, right? I was trying to coerce the council, if you will, right? Like my playmat is, and I'll look for it. They posted here on an image for the editor. My playmat is, if you follow anime, Fate Stay Night, right? If those who remember Fate Stay Night, my playmat is the first run of the second run of Fate Stay Night, the meeting of the kings, where it's like all the kings meet. They know they have to kill each other, but they share a drink together and have this understanding of, hey, we're gonna go to war, but we respect each other because we're all kings, right? And so that
Mm-hmm.
is my playmat because that's how I respect my table. I'm like, look, I've had to stand up and tell these people, my friends, very close to me. And if you're listening, primos, I'm sorry, but I'm putting you out there. You know who you are. Okay, ya sabes quién es. Te queda el saco, okay? So, si te queda el saco, te queda el saco. They come in and han gastado feria, like a lot of money to get these decks up and running because they hate one of my decks. They just don't like my deck. That it just pops off, rubs them the wrong way. I am an old school player. I run a Rafik deck. Rafik is exalted. It's double strike. It's very aggressive. It's a Tron deck, but it plays in Bant, so it does Bant things, right? Like it's a lot of control, ramp, and it just screws with the people at this table. It bothers them. I've won games with that deck that I should have lost, quote unquote, according to that person or to the other people, that they get so mad that there's really like heat, animosity in that room where I've had to stand up and have a little speech and go, guys, we all spent money, we all spent time and energy, we all love our game, and we all want to win. But if we're not gonna enjoy ourselves, then it's not worth playing. Because I love you guys, but if we're gonna be mad at each other the whole rest of the game or the rest of the night, I'm not gonna be here, and that's okay. Like that's okay. But I've had it more than once, and then thankfully, people do kind of let go, but people are very competitive. You would not understand. Those that listen to this show or watch this show know Magic can get very competitive, especially when you are brewing and you're making it and you have your baby commander that you've kind of, built up yourself, and someone just destroys it. You feel some kind of way. So with that though, I'll say Rule 0 is a must. I think that that's something that's going to prevent a lot of headaches, even with your casual group in whatever pod you're with, or even in a public space. I hope that everyone can enjoy the game because it is a fun game. It's not life or death. Es remember que es un juego entre amigos. Sí tenemos competitivo, también tenemos las ganas de ganar, pero at the same time, it's a game. And at the end of the day, it's about community, la comunidad. And with that said, primos, we'll take a quick break. There's a little bit of Sin Color. Be right back. And we're back, Primos. Thanks for hanging in there with us. We are back for our final segment of the show. Bones, I've had a blast talking about magic, talking about turtles, talking about Commander, but you do more than just talk about magic, right? So tell us, before we kind of get too deep into it here, Bones, where can Primos find you? Like, what's your socials? Where can people find your cosplay? You make rugs, for God's sakes, So tell us a little bit about where they can find you.
Yeah, so I am obviously Bones of Calavera Cosplay. I am Calavera_cosplay on pretty much everything except Twitch. That's Calavera Creations, which is actually the name of my business. So I do other IPs. So this is like one of those things we talk about, Universes Beyond. It also just like, if it's not part for you, it's okay. You can take a step back. For me, I am taking a little bit of a step back, probably in terms of being super plugged in and hitting other IPs. The Chainsaw Man movie's coming out, and I'm going to upgrade my Reese cosplay because I signed up to be included on like pre-releases, and I got the invite for the pre-release, so I'm dying of excitement. Ooh. Jujutsu Kaisen's coming out, so I want to do a cosplay for that. But yep, I post all my photos, most of my photos on Instagram. I'm actually looking at starting a Passes, which is like a Patreon almost, because Eli is actually starting to get into photography. He's been very like intrigued about it, and I was just like, well, hell yeah, like might as well, if I'm gonna have a surplus of photos, might as well, put it out there. Why not?
Put it out there.
Yeah. If people are interested, I do make rugs. I don't know if you can kind of see the Gruel one. That was like one of my first baby ones. It's like it's like 2x2 one.
I see it there.
Yeah, it's just chilling. But yeah, I'll do like any IP really. They're custom made, so like let me know. I made a shoot, I forgot the Pokemon. I made a Pokemon rug one. I did a Naruto one. I'm going to do a Hobbit one for my friend, and I'm going to do a gum fruit for my buddy. So if you guys are interested, let me know. I like the opportunity to make them. I think they're fun, and I want to make more magic rugs for sure. We'll
there we go.
Want to make more. But yeah, I'm at Calavera_cosplay pretty much everywhere. And yeah, I'm a nerd. I'm a big weeb and a big magic fan.
There
and
we go. We're
Latina.
weebs. We found each other, primos. We found each other here. We're talking about that. And of course, you can follow us here at Puro Pinche Magic on socials. We have our own socials now, but we are part of the My Primos Productions umbrella. So check them out as well. If you like comic books, pop culture from a Latino perspective, check them out as well at My Primos Productions and My Primos Podcast. Bones. So here at the end, we talk about, we talked about how we like to brew, we like to enjoy making our decks, but we also, you've mentioned yourself that we have pet cards, right? Cards that we kind of always include, or most of the time, I would say, include in our builds, especially depending on the color. Now we know, the commander depends, right? What you're building, etc. Some things have to get cut, right? And more often it's lands, right? It's lands, always get cut lands. But which that's a conversation we should have another day. A number of lands, but I digress.
Yes.
Because that's a whole thing. But in colors, there are cards that we just go to. Like that's my go-to card in that color. Regardless, I will make it fit. 95% of the time, I will slam this card into this deck, especially if it runs that color. So today we're going to try to do that. Here are our pet cards in all colors. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Starting off with today, we're gonna do a couple colors. So we'll do red and we'll do green per Bones' request. So we'll do red and green. There you go. There
Gruel,
you go. Of
gruel,
course,
gruel,
rule,
gruel.
rule, rule, rule. And so for this one here, again, it would just be one card. We talk about it and kind of go in depth and see why it's an auto include. And I'll give you my hums and ha's, if it's something that I think makes sense. But regardless, it's all about having fun and showing your splash of spice on there. So Bones, let's start with green. What card in green is an auto include for you and why?
So I found this really funny because I tried to get it signed in Atlanta, but it's a Rebecca Gay card. So if you guys know anything about Magic, she is like one of the OG artists, very popular. Lines get like 2 hours long, and I couldn't figure out how to do the ticket system. And I said, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just do it next turn because she'll be back, right? And everyone's like, what card are you getting signed? And I was like, they're like, this like really nice card by her. And I was like, nah, I'm going to get Abundance signed. And they're like, what do you mean you're going to get Abundance signed? And I was like, yep, I'm getting Abundance signed because it's my auto include pet card. So for those who don't know, it says if you draw a card, you may instead choose land or non-land and reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a card of your chosen kind. Put that card into your hand and put all other cards you revealed this way onto the bottom of your library in any order. And the reason it's an auto include for me is I am the queen, la reina, either flooding or starving. Like so much so that they call it the bone special in my play group because I do this consistently. I'll go to pre-release, I'll have a perfect game, and then I'll flood, and then I'll starve. And people are like, I watched you shuffle. I know you shuffled correctly. So abundance is my I don't know what magic god I got cursed by, but I need help.
That's hilarious. Abundance, so I'll give you my opinion. Abundance is a great card, especially for me. I run it in a landfall deck. It's perfect. I need to get lands, and so it combos well. There's a couple of infinites with this that go pretty hard, pretty fast. And I believe it was with because I remember playing it. It was Abundance and oh my god, something Colossus. What am I? What am?
Abundance,
Yeah,
abundance also will keep you from milling your top decking yourself out. Not top decking.
Cultivator Colossus. That combo
there it
right
is.
there. Cultivator Colossus. That's the combo that I run in that green deck because you basically keep slamming lands down on the field. Cultivator Colossus gets bigger and bigger. It triggers all the other landfall. I think it's a phenomenal include. Now, auto include in green, for me per se, I wouldn't run that. I think that for my auto include, when we're sharing here and why, let me update the search here for us. So for me, in green, it is going to be spinning wheel kick. So spinning wheel kick, uh, it's almost like it works, man. It does damage. And let me pull up the image for you in real time. Spinning wheel kick. There it is. Those who don't
Yeah.
know, spinning wheel kick is XX green green, and it reads target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each of X target creatures and or planeswalkers.
That
Sorcery
and or
speed.
planeswalker is ouch.
It is a must include in green because in green you tend to ramp for the most part. You're getting big creatures out there again, and it helps me because for me I end up with lack of removal. I end up with not a way to deal with creatures or a planeswalker because I don't. If I'm not running red or I'm not running something that can do direct damage, I'm kind of sitting there going, "Damn, I got to deal with these creatures." And not only that, but mass removal at times, depending on how many creatures you have. That XX, right? If you can stack that up enough, let's say if you have enough mana, if you have 10 mana available, you're doing what is that? That's four, green, green. That's 10.
Hmm.
You're doing you're doing all the damage from my big hitter here. Let's say I have a 6/6 to four creatures on the field. Boom, 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 boom. That's it. And most of the time, I'm winning because it's not fighting, it's just doing damage. So my guy's gonna be fine. I'm just spitting all that power at the creature. It gets rid of it. And for the most part, it's rare for somebody that's gonna sit there and heroic intervention for four creatures or five creatures. They're saving it for a bigger wipe. They don't expect this to come out of green. So that's why for me, spinning wheel kick is like my pet, almost auto include.
Yeah. No, it makes sense, and it's one of those cards that I feel like people like sleep on because there are bigger like game changers.
Yeah.
And like that's why whenever we talk about it, like we challenge people to like look outside of those like auto includes and find cards that are like similar or like maybe have a slight downside. But that's like why my husband ends up winning a lot of games is because he's very particular about finding different cards. So people learn lines. They know, oh, you have that card, you're probably going to have this card, you're probably going to have this card. So Eli will play a card that does roughly the same thing, and they'll be like, he's not a threat. And then guess what? He completes the line, and they're like, what just happened?
Exactly.
But and
Don't
that's why, like,
underestimate it.
yeah, and I think like it's I think auto include should be personal. Like this is the one you like. I just know myself. I get screwed consistently, and for me that's not a fun game. And I'd rather like have a spot be taken by abundance that lets me kind of figure out what I need to do. And I did it on stream a long time ago. I did it on Kuro's stream where I had to draw and I said, okay, I'm going to pick a creature. And they watched me pull 7 lands in a row. 7 lands in a row. And I was like, I would have had a miserable game because that would have been atrocious. But it doesn't mean that it's bad, but it's my auto including green because I'm like, it saves myself. It's some heartbreak. And if I get it, awesome. Also, like I said, it keeps you from milling yourself out because if they're like, all right, do this, and you say, okay, well, I'm going to choose to pick a land knowing that there's no land in there, and then you're just like, okay, failed to find, and then it's
Yeah.
like poof.
It
Like,
keeps
aha.
recycling it. And for me, for
Mm-hmm.
spinning wheel kick, it's always that even if I top deck the thing, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, yes, it would suck to get it because if I get a turn one or two, I'm not doing much with it. But it's great late game. It's great to top deck that thing mid to late game where you have enough mana on the field and you see what's going on and you're kind of at a standstill and everybody's kind of a little bit on edge to see what's going to happen. And then you throw that on the field. If I have enough ways to generate mana, which obviously in green you can, and in my scenario, it goes into a lot of those decks that do generate a lot of stuff. I clear a field, I wipe a field, and it ends up just like getting that vitriol from across the table. Like, why? Like, but you didn't expect it in green, right? That's what I love about that. What about that?
Yeah,
So,
and that's why like it just is how you play. So like I have it in all of them, but like especially in Raga Draga, which is all mana dorks. So I hit a point where I'm like, I have plenty of mana dorks. I don't need lands per se. And I'm like,
yeah,
I'm just gonna start digging and I'll start digging for my creatures or my spells or what was it, Elven Chorus that makes everything a mana dork. And it's just kind of like helps me decide when the deck's gods are mad at me.
but moving on to the last color here of the night, we're going to do red. So in red, Bones, I'll lead off. I'm gonna show you mine, and let me kind of put it up here because tell me, it is an old school thing. I mean, it may not be like a surprise for people, but um, it is a card that in red I tend to run, especially in Commander, because what's the one thing that is abundant in Commander? that they always tell you need to have. They tell you that it's a necessary thing. Like I have to run Price of Progress. Do you know the card?
I don't think I know it off the top of my head.
So I'm trying to load it on this. For whatever reason, it's not loading on the screen. I'll try a different way to do it. But Price of Progress is it's a instant speed spell, and we're gonna do it off of. I guess I'll do it off TCG player because that's the only image that came up. But here we go. I'll share the screen. Share the screen for the primos out there. It's a well-known card, and it is Price of Progress. Price of Progress reads:
Oh, yes.
Price of Progress deals damage to each player to twice the number of non-basic lands that player controls. So I run this especially in red because oftentimes in red, if I am splashing another color, if I am mixing more colors, I don't run tons of non-basics. I really don't. I mean, I do a couple of excuse me, a couple dual lands. I do run a couple bounce lands, but that's pretty much it. I don't run tons. But I sit across the table from guys that run, especially in multiple colors. They're running every type of dual land you can think of, right? And
Mm-hmm.
utility lands and whatnot. So this is a great deal when I throw that out there, especially against certain players. You know, on the table, and it has all they have all the lands. You know, they got all the cool lands out there for you, and this thing hits them in the face, minimum 10 damage. That's a huge chunk of change to get hit in the face with, especially at instant speed. You know, and I love it. It's an auto include for me. Now it dings me, but that's what red is, right? Red, you sacrifice a little bit to gain a lot. So that's an auto
Yep.
include for me.
Yeah, that's a good one. I also really enjoy the flavor text on that one.
What's the flavor text?
enthusiasm can be enthusiasm can be tempered in the furnace of the earth. It feels very, very
Ooh.
red.
They're very, very red. What about you in red?
So this is my example of people should go back and look at cards and see if they're things that make the same but are better, right? Because I see this a lot as I work as I do more games in Miko with our friends. We'll just like pull a deck, and the amount of times that I see a red deck that has anger in it, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a much better card. So for those of you who don't know, it angers a creature that as long as it's in your graveyard, it gives everything haste, right? I ran into the problem of when I was running anger that I could never get it in my graveyard unless I was like discarding, because people are like, I don't want anger in the graveyard. I'll take it, like I'm sure there's better ways, but like it was a free blocker, but while it's not in the graveyard, it's not giving me haste. So
Mm-hmm.
when Dustborn came out with Enduring Courage, I will preach this on the pulpit. I will preach it from the mountains. Do not play anger, play Enduring Courage. I used to have anger in
Enduring
Ragged Dragon. I
courage.
put Enduring Courage in it. It's changed my life.
Enduring
He's a little
courage. Here we
puppy.
go. I'm gonna go to the gatherer. Oh yeah, this is a good one. This is a great, great
Mm-hmm.
pick because not only is it a creature, but it becomes an enchantment when it comes through.
Mm-hmm.
So this is phenomenal. It's like double removal. And then how often do you see somebody run across? Sure, I have creature removal, but I don't have enchantment
You have
removal.
enchantment. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It just every time I see a deck that's running anger, and I'm like, why? Why run anger? Just run Enduring Courage. And I literally will take out anger and put in Enduring Courage. Or I'll just take up a slot and put it in there. Like whenever I make a red deck, like I think I put it in Chandra because it's a body, and then if it gets rid of
Yeah.
itself it comes back as an enchantment, because anger is very susceptible to a bajuka bog or something like that. Like it's in your graveyard, well, exile your graveyard. Well, as long as they haven't removed it from the enchantment version of it, then it is like it's not sitting in your graveyard ever. It's an enchantment unless they get rid of it as an enchantment. So I will die on this hill that do not play anger unless you know you can get it in there, or just like double it up. I have doubled up anger and Enduring Courage just in case.
Just in case. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Enduring courage is a great pick. I think that it gets overlooked because of the cost. To be fair, the cost
Yeah.
kind of does kind of scare red players away a little bit, just because it's like, oh man, I want my haste to happen quick, right? But like you said, if you're tossing in, if you can run anger, it's a great choice, but this here, if you can be patient, because anger, there it is a version of it. Haste, as long as this
It's
card is
also
in your
four
graveyard,
cards, though.
true,
It's a four
but it's
drop as
dropping
well.
it. But drop it in the graveyard. You're not gonna play anger. I mean, it's rare. I mean, rare. You can just. I'm not saying is. But you're right. Okay, I'll stand corrected. It is a 4 drop, but in this scenario, it's more so anger's not gonna be on the field. You want it in the graveyard. You know.
Yeah.
But hey, that's the reason why
At
people
least
run it.
I find anger, I have a harder time auto sticking it in my graveyard. And that also could just be that it like my decks I tend to play everything. Like everything in my hand, like Raga Draga, Mana Dorks. I just dump everything out onto the field. Chandra, like I need the creatures, so I'll put it on the battlefield because either it becomes a free punch or a free blocker. And I'm like, you can swing into me, anger will go into the graveyard. But yeah, and the thing is it also doesn't exile it. Like when it dies as an enchantment, like it just says when it dies, it's a creature returned to the battlefield under its owner control. It's enchantment. So if you have any way to like not artifact, but like creature recursion, you could bring it back. If you're playing a Rakdos deck, you could just be like, hey, I'm going to bring back this Enduring Courage if you got rid of it. So
no, definitely. Primos, that's our takes, our auto includes. Tell us what are your auto includes in red and in green. Let us know in the comments and let us know on the show notes as well. I had a blast doing this with you. It's always fun. It's a blast, and I know that we're gonna keep doing this as much as we can. Primos, just let us know what you want discussed on the show. ¿Qué les interesa a ustedes? Like what guests you want to have on the show. We'll try to reach out to them. Hey, we never know. It can happen, right? But Primos, you know that we talk about inclusion and letting everybody know that you want to, letting everybody know what this is, because the more we talk about it, the more we put ourselves out there, the more we hear our voices, we hear our opinions, lo que es la comunidad latina apoyándose uno al otro, right? Es lo que significa esto. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it. It's not a secret. Put it out there. At the same time, you don't have to be Latino to enjoy our content, but you know what? At the same time, it's spicy and fun, and I want everybody that can to enjoy what we do. And I want to just say thank you to Bones, and of course, thank you to all the listeners and viewers out there for enjoying Puro Pinche Magic. And I remember, like I always said in the last show, Pinche is a very special word. Depending how you use it, it can be magical. Adiós, primos.
Adiós.
Gracias por ver y escuchar Puro Pinche Magic. Primos, les agradezco a todos el apoyo, la comunidad, and I want to thank everyone again for sharing, liking this new program. Let us know what you think. Follow us at Puro Pinche Magic on all social media. And remember, this show is part of the My Primos Productions Network. Follow My Primos Productions for todo en cultura geek. If you're into comic books, if you're into anime, if you're into D&D, definitely check us out. Thank you to my host, Bones from Calavera Cosplay, always bringing her spice into the conversation. Check them out at Calavera_cosplay. And thank you for everyone that has participated with us online in that conversation. Aquí los dejo, primos. Como siempre, cuídense. We'll see you next time. And remember, pinche is special, how you use it, and whenever you use it within amigos, primos, it can be magical. Hasta la próxima.